Hey guys, so today I am here to do my wrap up for April and May since I've kind of been missing for the last couple of months. So yeah, I haven't got a ton of reading done since then, so I thought I would just couple these 2 months together and just show you the 4 books that I did end up reading. So yeah, let's get started. So the first book that I read in April was Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake, and I absolutely loved this book. It's been a while since I've read like a real YA novel, and this one just hit the mark on everything. It was really amazing. If you have not heard about this book, I don't know where you have been, but it's been hitting booktube by storm for the past couple of months. Basically, it follows 3 queens, I guess they're queens, and they're all vying for the role of being queen of the entire kingdom or queendom. They live on this island, and all 3 of them are queens of different territories of this island, and they have to basically kill the other 2 queens to become queen of the entire island. So they're sisters, so that adds like a complex element to it, but they're kind of separated when they're young, so they don't really remember each other very well. But this story is amazing. It follows the perspective of all 3 of the queens, and you kind of just get a glimpse into what their territory is like, and they all have like magical powers. Like the first queen does stuff with plants and animals. She can communicate with animals, and then I think one of her like superpowers is that she gets like a animal kind of companion. And then the other queen has control over the elements: fire, wind, water, that sort of thing, and earth. And the other one is like a poison eater. She's resistant to different poisons and stuff. So they all have to like train to get better at their powers. And this book kind of is just really, really interesting. And there's like a huge twist at the end, which you're not expecting. And I was just like, oh my goodness, where is the second book right now? Because I need to read the second one. So if you have not already checked this book out and you are a big fan of YA with some like fantastical elements to it, this is definitely a book that I would recommend. It's so good. The writing is really well done, and the characters are just amazing. And I love the like intricacies of each character and the complications that they go through. It's just a really fabulous book. Highly recommend it. And the next book is part of my Book of the Month subscription, and it's Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. I came into this book not knowing a ton about it. I heard a little bit about it on BookTube. It's kind of like a fictionalized version of what is going on in Syria, but it follows this romantic couple. And that really intrigued me. I really wanted to learn more about Syria, and I thought reading it in a fictional way would be a good step in to a lot of the like very dark and tragic stuff that is actually going on. I thought I would check this book out, and it was fabulous. Now I would say that there is like a fantastical surreal element to this book, which I did not see coming into the book, but I think it's important readers that are reading it should know, because it will throw you off if you're not ready for it. But I feel like it fits perfectly in with the book. It helps, I think, solve a lot of the challenges of like travel that go on in this book. But it was beautiful. I loved it. I'm still a little conflicting on the ending, because I do feel like this book kind of petered out towards the end, but I'm not sure if that was intentional on the author's part. As this book kind of progresses, you'll understand why this might be intentional. But I felt like it was a beautiful book. The characters are really interesting. They're both very different, but also very, they go well together. And I just felt it was a really, really awesome book. So if you have not checked this out, again, I highly recommend this. It was just fabulous. Like, by far, Exit West and the Three Dark Crowns are like the best books I've read in a while. So the next book I listened to on audiobook, and that was This Boy's Life by Tobias Wolff. And I read this book back in college, I believe, as part of like a memoir class. And there was like a discount going on Audible, so I thought I would check it out again because I didn't remember too much about it, and I wanted to kind of just see what it was all about again. And I wasn't entirely sure if I actually finished the book in college, so that was another reason why I wanted to pick it up. I liked the book. I can understand why I don't remember it. I don't think there's a lot of like qualities in the book that I remember. It's an interesting book. Like, I can't really relate to his childhood, but it was still very fascinating and interesting to read and listen to, I guess. It's a very interesting childhood, and I mean, I don't know what else to really say about this book. I feel like if you like reading memoirs, then you might find this one interesting, but he grew up with his mother, and his mother, they kind of moved a lot often. So they moved to Washington. She ends up getting married to this kind of abusive guy, and then it's just about him dealing with the abuse and living in that situation, and then always coming up with these like really crazy schemes to escape, and then eventually, like, you know, just his relationship with this family, because I believe the guy, the husband, had 3 children coming into the marriage. So it's just like their whole strange family dynamic, and yeah, it was very interesting, but not something I would say that was like spectacular or very particularly memorable in any way. I believe I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It was great writing, and I love his voice in the story, and I think he does a really good job of like talking about himself as a child, so that was really good. But once again, I mean, there's not really much I could say about this book, but I enjoyed it. And the next book I also listened to an audiobook, and that was Pledge by Kimberly Durden. This book I kind of went into hoping that it was going to be something like 3 Dark Crowns. This is also about a queendom. Once she has a daughter, the daughter inherits the throne after she passes away. But you quickly learn that there's more to it than that, I guess. I don't really want to spoil anything. But, so you have this girl that is like the lost heir of the original royal family who comes back. And because the current queen is kind of very controlling and very, you know, it's not a great place to live. And so there's like this resistant group who finds the lost royal heir and wants to bring her to her rightful throne. So I thought it would be cool to read another book about a queendom and kind of get those Dark Crown vibes again. But this book was kind of disappointing for me. The main character lacked any kind of personality. She just fell very flat. She didn't really do much in the book, and I just did not really enjoy her. And there was an insta love kind of aspect to the story. I just could not get, it was just really bad. Like, it was so insta love, and it didn't make any sense to me. I'm definitely more of a slow burning kind of person, but I don't mind insta love in any way if it's done well. Because I do believe you can like somebody at first sight. Like, you can see that there's a connection at first sight. But to instantly like fall in love with somebody, I feel like that's very unrealistic, and it just doesn't mesh well with me. Like, I mean, this guy was basically, there's one point where the male character is basically like, my whole life has been trying to protect you, and they've only known each other for like 2 days at this point, and I'm just like, this makes no sense whatsoever. So there was that I did not like. There was a female character named Brooklyn who I actually really enjoyed. She was very strong, very motivated, and I liked her character, but we don't really get to see a lot about her, and she's kind of like on the sidelines as like this girl's best friend. So it's kind of like a sidekick character, but I really liked her, and I think she would have made a better main character than the actual main character, but yeah, whatever. At first, I didn't realize that this book was going to be a trilogy, so I was hoping I could just get a standalone, but it's actually a trilogy, but I doubt I will continue reading on with it. I don't know. It just did not appeal to me in any way. I was really interested by the world at first, but then there were a lot of like gaps and loopholes in this setting or in the story in general that just didn't really make sense to me, and that also just threw me off, and I couldn't get past it. Like there's a part where, I mean, this is a very like dominating, controlling society and government where they have to like show their passports when they're going through like different gates in the city and stuff, but they also have like this teenage party that goes on is like a celebration, but it's only for like teenagers. And it just felt really weird that like this controlling queen would allow them to have like essentially like teen parties. It was, I don't know, it was just really weird. But yeah, so I wouldn't really recommend this book, but if you like YA like this, you might like it. It's kind of classified as a dystopia, but there's also fantastical elements to it. Oh, there is one part that I really did enjoy, actually. Each class in this society has a different language, and you only can know the language of your class, and then like the universal language, which is like English, which is English basically. And I liked that aspect of it. I was interested in seeing how class groups could be divided by language rather than, I mean, they're also divided by their financial situation, but seeing it as like that distinct, like you can only talk your language, and if you know someone is talking in a language above you, it's like a sign of disrespect and that sort of thing. That part was really cool, but it didn't really go very far in the book, and I think she could have like pushed that, like what does it mean to be able to only speak one language and feeling comfortable communicating with those languages and stuff like that. So yeah, the last book that I got through in May actually was Kevin Hart's new book that is coming out in June, June 9th actually. So I don't know if this video will be published before that or before it comes out, but I do have a full review on the book. It's called I Can't Make This Up, Life Lessons, and I really enjoyed that book. I won't talk about it too much here because I have a full review of it, so if you want to learn more, check that out there. And I also have a review on Goodreads if you would prefer to read a review. So yeah, those are the five books actually that I got through in the last 2 months. Hopefully in June and the following months I will be coming on strong and reading more books. I'm currently reading a book called The Last Days of Magic, and I'm really enjoying it. I actually think I have it here. Yeah, The Last Days of Magic by Mark Tompkins. Really enjoying this book so far, but I'm not that far into it, so don't really want to talk about it too much. But yeah, so I will be back with more videos soon, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what books you read in May, April, you know, whatever you feel like sharing, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.